Top stories: prison management taking COVID-19 safety seriously. Comply or be fined, says Superintendent of Police regarding COVID-19 protocols. And how do you prepare for the hurricane season with COVID-19 in mind? The details of these stories coming up. Hi, I'm Andre Huey and welcome to this edition of the Skn Newsline Newscast on Channel 95. The two prisons in the Federation are closed to the public as part of the efforts to protect inmates and prison workers from the spread of COVID-19. Jermaine Abel reports.
Prison officials are leaving no stone unturned in preventing an outbreak of the coronavirus in the two major penitentiaries of the Federation, as they are now stepping up preventative measures. As of last Thursday, May 20th, Superintendent of Her Majesty's Prison, Terence James, ordered the facility in Bastille closed to the public so that there would be no interaction with individuals on the outside other than staff members, so as to minimize the risk of internal spread of the virus.
We're just going to implement what we had implemented last year during the thing. The prison is considered a vulnerable institution, and so we are taking our necessary precautions, and so we have already closed the prison to the general public from since last Thursday.
He reminded that since last year, a number of measures, including temperature checks and testing, were implemented, and they are still in place as the outbreak continues to spread across the communities.
I've been in contact with the CMO and Mr. Abiel Samuel of the task force. At this present moment, we're not seeing any direct threat to the prison, but as a vulnerable institution. But that is definitely on the agenda to get staff members and the inmates tested. So I'm in discussion with the CMO to have advisor to get advice if that is.
Last year, there were discussions about a possible early release of prisoners in St. Kitts and Nevis and the wider Caribbean to lighten the population, but that was not done. James told his media that the option has not been removed.
Well, that is always on the table as part of our rehabilitation program. That is always on the table, so we're not ruling out that at this time. But I can't tell you definitely that will be done at this present time.
Meanwhile, the superintendent of prisons was asked to address the rumor of a prison officer who had tested positive and brought the virus into the facility.
That is, I can confirm that one of my staff is a close member to one of the confirmed cases, but she has since been tested and has given a negative test. She's been tested and she's negative.
For Skn Newsline, Jermaine Abel reporting.
Comply or be fined, says Superintendent of Police regarding COVID-19 protocols. Skn Newsline's Glenn Bart reports.
Comply or be fined was the message Police Superintendent Cromwell Henry left with us as he outlined restrictive measures aimed at helping the country arrest the spread of COVID-19. Superintendent Henry said he preferred persons to comply voluntarily rather than impose tickets and fines, but indicated that the police and the compliance officers will enforce the law and will fine businesses and individuals who breach the COVID-19 safety protocols.
Persons who contravened or failed to comply with the provisions of this order shall be liable to a fine not exceeding, again, $5,000. We remind the general public that these measures are public health measures designed to prevent the spread of the coronavirus, and so we anticipate your full cooperation in the adherence to these measures. The compliance team would be working very closely with the police and would be enforcing these measures. I've been asked questions time after time about tickets. I'm pleased to announce that we now have the ticket books on hand. They have been distributed, and so effective tomorrow, persons would be liable to be ticketed for any breach of these protocols that I've just outlined. If your passenger bus is carrying more than 50% passenger capacity, the driver would be liable to be ticketed. If the passengers are not wearing masks on the bus, the passengers would be liable to be ticketed. If you're not practicing social distancing, if you're not practicing the sanitization measures, then you'll be liable also to be ticketed. The fines ranges from $100 up to $500. And so we ask that persons avoid these fines. We have delayed the use of these tickets for quite a long time. It means that we do not want to use them. So just comply with the regulations and the protocols, and we will not have to use the tickets.
The stepped-up effort on compliance to COVID-19 protocols comes as the country carries out a major contact tracing effort with the quarantining and testing of persons since the start of local community spread just about a week ago. Glenn Bart reporting for Skn Newsline.
When we come back, West Line bus drivers are agitated about the recent COVID-19 measures restricting the number of passengers they can transport. Elliot's Funeral Parlor is the first licensed embalmer in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We have a friendly and professional staff. At Elliot's Funeral Parlor, we offer a wide range of packages from $6,500. Homegoing service at chapel, locally made caskets, tailoring of outfit for deceased of your choice, wake, overnight with slideshow, funeral, death announcement, obituary, booklets, family pin-ons, memorial books, preparation of funeral arrangements, wreath, fresh and artificial. For further information, call 469-3298, 664-2007 or 660-0186. Elliot's Funeral Parlor in Gingerland, Nevis. Dedicated to those we serve.
I need some veggies for dinner. Let me just check the amount of sodium in this can. Oh no, this is too much. Let me try our next option. They did say it's healthy to consume less salt. This is much better. I am salt smart.
Football is back, and the St. Kitts and Nevis Football Association will be bringing you live football on its website, www.sknfa.com, with Premier League Live. Without fans in the stadium due to COVID-19 protocols, you can now watch every single Premier League match this season on www.sknfa.com and click on Live TV. Games are shown live on every match day with halftime and post-game shows. It's Premier League Live. Commentary, analysis, action. Never miss a game.
Bless up, Dejo here, and I'm doing my part in the fight against COVID-19 by following all safety protocols and, most importantly, rolling up my sleeve for the vaccine. So I'm encouraging you to do the same, because that's our best shot of protecting ourselves, our family, and our friends. So don't wait, vaccinate. Let's roll up to roll out.
Auto Plus Car Wash, located on the College Street Gut, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Bring your car to Auto Plus Car Wash to remove water stains, wiper marks. Get your doors, roof panel cleaned, seat floor mats, buffing, headlights, and engine wash. You get quality service at the best price at Auto Plus Car Wash. They really care for your car. Call 765-5140 or visit them on the College Street Gut, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Auto Plus Car Wash, where the service is number one. Welcome back. Disaster management officials are urging the public to prepare for the hurricane season with COVID-19 in mind. Glenn Bart reports.
With the start of the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season just days away, the head of the National Emergency Management Agency, Mr. Abia Samuel, is imploring citizens and residents to plan with the COVID-19 pandemic in mind. With an above-average hurricane season predicted, Samuel said the country could find itself dealing with the ravages of a hurricane in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic.
We are fast approaching the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season, and I am making an appeal for persons to begin to prepare. However, what is critical, you have to begin to prepare with this current outbreak in mind, that we might enter into a hurricane season whereby we may be dually impacted by two hazards, that being a cyclonic hazard and that being this particular pandemic. So make sure that when you are planning, you plan with that in mind, in particular when you're looking at sheltering.
At this point in time, scientists from NOAA's Climate Prediction Center are reporting a 60% chance of above-average hurricane season. The forecast predicts 13 to 20 named storms, of which 6 to 10 could become major hurricanes, ranging between categories 3 and 5. With community spread now a reality on St. Kitts, normal shelter arrangements for hurricanes could contribute to more COVID-19 cases. Glenn Bob reporting for Skn Newsline.
I'm Andre Huey for Skn Newsline, and earlier on Friday, members of the Westline Bus Drivers Association would have had a meeting right in that area there, and you'll be seeing footage and photos of the gathering which was held earlier on Friday in this report. And basically they've had a meeting to discuss the recent measures announced by the government that restricts bus drivers to only 50% capacity. Now this is as a result of the government's attempt to stem the spread of coronavirus with the latest outbreak that just happened last week. We've now seen 19 active cases the last time we've gotten a report from the government. Now essentially the bus drivers are discussing the plan of action. They're not in agreement with the measures. They said that that is negatively affecting their revenue, and so they believe that the government should have had a meeting with them to discuss the matter before making the measures public. We had a chance to speak to the president of the Westline Bus Association, Mr. Nicholson Rambo Webster. This is what he had to say in an extensive interview we had with him after the meeting.
Well, we are concerned about a number of issues. Firstly, we are concerned about the fact that none of the government agencies has called us to discuss their decision and the reduction of passengers as it relates to the community spread. If you're going to make a decision that would affect the bus industry, I expect that we will have a conversation and we will come up with a formula that will work for everybody and keep the people in the country safe. But if you're going to just up and do things, it means that you don't have any regards for us, and that is an issue.
Right. Now, what are some of the challenges that the bus drivers have with the decision made by the government to allow only half 50% of capacity?
Well, first of all, the 50% of the capacity, there's a big issue in terms of how some of the buses are configured. And if we had, again, sit down and work up this, the government would have known that all the buses them are not the same. So you cannot just paint all of them with a broad brush and say 50%, because all of them are not the same. And then they're not even saying 50% now, they're saying 7, they're calling a number. All buses do not carry the same amount of people. And that have a serious impact on the bus fraternity.
Mm-hmm. So what decision did you guys come to?
Well, our decision is that we are going to put together a proposal to send to the government. That is what we decide to do. The other issue we have is that we know several bus drivers are in quarantine, and we are concerned about that because in the manner of which it has been done. Because if you're going to call a bus driver and tell him to go home and park up, and then when he asks a question, you're not willing to answer any question, it means that any one of us could be targeted by someone who jumped on a bus and are not even sure of which bus, because we get that a lot in the bus fraternity. Somebody forgets something on a bus and they're not sure which bus. So which means your name can be easily mixed up with somebody else's own, and you're off the road for 2 weeks for no reason.
And a lot of people are asking whether the bus drivers are going to strike. Can you say definitively whether or not the bus drivers are going to go on strike at any point?
Well, I am not in any position to say whether or not we will have a strike, because I am the president and I always do things in a way where democracy, in my view, is at heart. So if majority of the bus drivers say to the president, look, this is the way we want to go, then that is the action. But for now, I am not doing or supporting any industrial action.
Okay. How soon you intend to get the proposal to government?
Well, we will try and get it together at least by Monday.
Will the other associations be involved as well, or is it just going to be Westline for now?
Well, right now we had this meeting, and it's a joint meeting between the Westline Bus Association and also the Sugar City Bus Association. I don't know what the Monkey Hill or the East Line doing for their members. We are just trying to look after our members here in the West Line, because we seem to be the ones that are targeted most. There's also a discrepancy in terms of the numbers, because some people are saying those on the East and those in Monkey Hill are allowed to carry this, and West Line only allowed to carry 7. All this confusion again is because no one has sat down with us to work out anything.
So there you have it there, Nicholson Webster, better known as Rambo to many people, the president of the Westline Bus Association. And he basically outlined that they will be submitting a proposal to government as early as next week, Monday, as it relates to the measures announced for bus drivers. In the interim, we'll continue to monitor to see whether or not the bus drivers will go on strike, what the other bus associations will be doing, and whether or not this issue will be resolved. Reporting from Bastyr, St. Kitts for Skn Newsline, I'm Andre Hugh. When we come back, regional news.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips.
You know, it's me, Mr. HE, and I'm here with one message: roll up to roll out. We all know how difficult things have been during this COVID-19 pandemic. While we continue to wash our hands, wear a face mask, and practice social distancing, how about we take it one step further and get vaccinated? Call the nearest health center to find out if you are eligible to be vaccinated. Or you can contact the Ministry of Health at any one of these numbers down below. Don't be discouraged by the negativity. We all have a role to play in protecting this federation. So, St. Kitts and Nevis, let's roll up to roll out.
Stay abreast with news on St. Martin with SMN News. Visit www.smn-news.com for up-to-date news, scoops, opinions, and hard-hitting facts. SMN News, we tell it like it is. Visit our website www.smn-news.com.
It's the new and improved Skn Newsline Android mobile app. With the Skn Newsline app, you can watch your news reports, the Skn Newsline Newscast, sports, special features, and so much more. You can also send us a WhatsApp or call us directly. Go in the Google Play Store, search Skn Newsline, and download the app today. The Skn Newsline mobile app. News on the go.
Junior, can I get popcorn, please? Don't tell Shane, Dev. Want some to plead? I can get some starch. More, please. Boy, take a pack up from Junie.
This has been the Skn Newsline Newscast on Channel 95. If you want more on these stories, you can visit our website at www.sknnewsline.com. From all of us here at Skn Newsline, I'm Andre Huey. Thank you for watching. The opposition People's National Party, PNP, in Jamaica is standing firm in support of its General Secretary, Dr. Dayton Campbell, amid serious allegations made against him by party member Karen Cross. The party has also rejected calls for Dr. Campbell to resign. More from TVJ News.
In a media release this afternoon, the PNP said the allegations against Dr. Campbell failed to meet any reasonable standard of credibility that would make it proper for him to step back from his office. The PNP General Secretary has filed a lawsuit against Ms. Cross and others for defamation, having publicly denied the allegations. Ms. Cross has filed a set of documents in her defense, which recently became public. Included were 3 statements purportedly signed by a justice of the peace. The party says it's urging the police to investigate fully the circumstances behind the 3 documents, including the accuser and the justice of the peace for failing to report the matter to the police. And the PNP says Ms. Cross is before its disciplinary committee to determine whether she must be held accountable for wrongfully bringing the party into disrepute. It added in the statement that it cannot be right that individuals who are self-avowedly pursuing a political agenda can be allowed to achieve their objectives simply by making vile and unsupported accusations against senior office holders. It says that would be a rogue's charter. In the end, the party says it stands firm in support of its General Secretary as it awaits the outcome of the police investigation in relation to the 3 documents. Prince Moore, TVJ News.
Health officials on Grenada this week received a new batch of AstraZeneca vaccines, while the batch on hand, close to expiration, will be shipped to a neighboring country in need. More from GBN News.
Grenada has now received its batch of the AstraZeneca vaccines from COVAX. Over 21,000 doses of the vaccine arrived in Grenada on Wednesday, which they hope will aid in their quest for Grenada to achieve herd immunity. Minister Steele was at the MBIA to receive the shipment.
We can keep the momentum going. It means that we are able to meet our commitment to the population, which is to ensure that vaccines are available. Vaccines are readily available and accessible. We are one of few countries. Not every country has access to vaccines as yet. Grenada has been fortunate through the cooperation and assistance of Pan American Health Organization, WHO, and COVAX to have access to vaccines. While it is limited amounts and it is limited variety, it is still the right vaccine that can protect us. So we are glad to have received this additional shipment and look forward to individuals continuing to come forward to receive their vaccination.
What is likely to happen with those vaccines not utilized before the expiration date, which is the end of June?
We are seriously looking at our present uptake to determine the number of doses that we will administer by that expiry date. The excess that we are not able to administer, I've considered, yes, sending it to countries who have a better uptake and who can use them. And
vaccines are quite likely the most valuable liquid on earth right now. And while we do hope, and it is possible that we can use all of those vaccines between now and the expiration date of the end of June, it really would be regrettable, and it is not our intention to have them go to waste.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sean Charles also provided an update on Grenada's present standing re the COVID-19 cases.
Remain at 161 confirmed cases. At present, we have no active cases. There were no new cases the past weeks. I believe our last case was identified around 24th April. We have vaccinated over 17,000 persons with the first dose of the vaccine, the AstraZeneca just under 8,000, 7,919 persons who have received their second dose. So we have a total of 7,919 individuals who are fully vaccinated.
Fiona Anthony, country program specialist for the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, says the more persons vaccinated, the greater the chance of getting back to a normal life.
We're very excited to be in this position today when working through the COVAX facility we've been able to provide the vaccines, the COVID-19 vaccines for Grenada with the aim that that would reach 20% of the vulnerable population, including healthcare workers. So I think it's a big achievement, and also what it does is basically makes more vaccines available to persons in Grenada to access and utilize.
2 weeks ago, health officials expressed grave concern about the lull in people coming forward to get vaccinated. However, they have seen an uptick in the last 10 days and are hoping that the trend continues. Christina John, GBN News.
The United Nations Refugee Agency is expressing growing concern about the crisis in Ethiopia's northern Tigray region. More from Al Jazeera.
Computers smashed, equipment stolen, a place of learning destroyed. This is just one of many schools which, according to a report by Human Rights Watch, has been damaged by both government and opposition forces during fighting in the Tigray region of northern Ethiopia. The organisation accuses government troops of using a high school as a military base.
A key part of this is obviously going to be ensuring accountability for the abuses which these communities have seen happen. As I said, there is a real fear of returning to school because forces that have abused and have destroyed these schools are still around.
Fighting began in Tigray 6 months ago. That's when the Ethiopian government, backed by its ally Eritrea, launched a military operation accusing the Tigray People's Liberation Front of attacking its federal military bases in the north and destabilising the country. The US has been a strong ally of Ethiopia's government for years, but is growing frustrated with the scale of the fighting and widespread reports of sexual violence. The Senate's Foreign Relations Committee was told on Thursday that an estimated 2 million people have been forced to flee their homes, and 5.2 million people are in urgent need of assistance.
The United States condemns in the strongest terms the brutal killings, sexual violence, including gang rape, forced removals, wanton destruction of civilian property.
US President Joe Biden has called for an immediate ceasefire. The Senate has unanimously called for the withdrawal of Ethiopian troops, and Secretary of State Antony Blinken says what is happening amounts to ethnic cleansing. Ethiopia has been warned that it faces strong economic sanctions if the fighting continues, but it has dismissed US interference in its internal affairs. The Red Cross, which is supplying food to around 40 villages in the north, says farming essentials like seeds and fertilizer are running low.
The situation has hurt us a lot. We all left our homes with nothing, and our children have been exposed to different diseases. There's no school. All the children and women are hiding in the mountains.
The United Nations says people in Tigray are facing famine if the fighting doesn't stop. Charles Stratford, Al Jazeera.
EU foreign ministers have been meeting to decide how to sanction Belarus. Western governments have called on Belarusian President Lukashenko to immediately release journalist Roman Prasevich and his girlfriend. Again, we join Al Jazeera.
At a news conference in Warsaw on Thursday, Roman Protasevich's parents made an impassioned plea for help in freeing their son and, they said, their country.
We as parents, we're asking dear people, dear journalists, dear presidents, dear governments, with some kind of influence on Lukashenko, on his regime, so that he can stop torturing the wonderful young, bright youth and stop all of the evil things that he is doing at the moment.
Although the EU has yet to put new economic sanctions against Belarus into action, their intention is clear. In Lisbon, foreign ministers discussed their options, and at the moment at least, the talk is tough.
What is clear is that we want to show that we will not be satisfied with small steps for the sanctions, but rather we want the sanctions to put significant pressure on the Belarusian economic structures and financial structures, the repercussions are felt, and the Lukashenko regime is made to understand that the moment for dialogue has passed, as long as things like those of the last week happen.
As to what the sanctions will be, Belarus's foreign financial transactions could come under fire, also its oil sector and one of its key exports.
I think that the key word is potash. We know that Belarus produces a lot of potassium. It is globally one of the biggest exporters, and I think that this would hurt Lukashenko if we managed this. And I do assume that we will have managed this by June the 21st, when we have a foreign ministers meeting in Luxembourg, and that is the most important thing.
Belarus's president denies the Western allegations of piracy and accuses what he calls the ill wishers of waging a hybrid war against his country. On Friday, he travels to Russia for a meeting with his main financial and political supporter, Vladimir Putin. Russia has started to refuse landing permissions for European planes avoiding Belarusian airspace. It's a sign Moscow wants to push back against what it sees as a shared threat. For Belarus, Russia and the West, the economic costs of this standoff are increasing. Rory Challens, Al Jazeera.
In the latest results in the St. Kitts Nevis Amateur Basketball Association National Bank Senior League, Rams hitters continued their undefeated run. This time they defeated Atiba Harris St. Peter's Runners 106-71 in the first game on Sunday at Basketball City. For hitters, Tyrone Hutchinson had 26 points, 9 steals, 6 rebounds. Daryl Lewis, 24 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals. Taslin Hodge, 18 points, 3 rebounds, 6 steals, 3 assists. Sean Forbes, 14 points, 18 rebounds. For runners, Rannick Nichols had 15 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Leroy Wilkinson had 14 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Ozani Purcell, 17 points and 7 rebounds. In the second game, it was a clash for the undefeated when Blueprint Construction St. Paul's Tough Nuts defeated E&K Minimart Sandy Point Falcons 100-34 to remain undefeated, along with Rams hitters. For St. Paul's, Nashorn Maynard had 29 points, 25 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Diamine Rollins, 17 points, 17 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals. George Gatton, 16 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. Clayton Powell, 13 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. For Falcons, Leston Wilshire, 19 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists. Grammy Brown, 18 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. Jamal Hodge, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals. Chavez Balboa, 15 points, 2 rebounds. So, the point stand-ins see the Falcons, after playing 11 matches, they're at the top of the table with 31 points. Hitters on 27 points. Runners, after 11 matches, they're on 23 points. Exodus on 22 points. Tough Nuts on 21. Bird Rock on 21. Up Front on 17. Inner City on 17. Ghetto Roots and Wolfpack also on 17 points each. Eagles on 14 points. Blazers on 13. Firestorm on 12. And Keon on 8 points. This has been the Skn Newsline Newscast on Channel 95. If you want more on these stories, you can visit our website at www.sknnewsline.com. From all of us here at Skn Newsline, I'm Andre Huey. Thank you for watching.